cyber attack which has disrupted operations at European airports.
But cyber attacks have caused major issues at other European airports.
A cyber attack has been causing chaos at some of Europe's busiest airports this Saturday.
Ransomware hits European airport. What if this would happen in India? What lessons India needs to learn and what exposure India is looking at in terms of cyber warfare. Europe's busiest airports were halted just because of a single cyber attack. Just imagine where India is already bleeding 22,000 crores every year because of cyber attacks. Can India afford such a scenario? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh. Today we are not just going to talk about the ransomware attack that has happened on Europe's biggest airports, but rather we are going to use the very same lens to look at the scenario that is present in India and what kind of exposure that India's cyber scenario is looking at if such an incident crops up and what needs to be done well in time so we are able to focus on cyber security, which is equivalent to national security in the given times. So when we talk about the attack, cyber attack that has happened, initially it had just affected few airports starting with Brussels. Later it went on to multiple airports such as Dublin, Cork, Heathrow, where we saw thousands of passengers being stranded, and later it was confirmed that it was a ransomware attack, which is a form of cyberware attack. Now, if we talk about this particular attack, we also understand that in this attack, it was not a government authority, rather a vendor which was responsible for check-in and boarding system. He was targeted, and that is why there was a huge operational impact that was present, which was seen. When we are talking about this attack that has happened, now let us decode that what kind of attack is this in terms of a cyber attack. So, this specific attack was a ransomware action. Basically, they had disabled the key applications and they were demanding some ransom to unlock that. And they had targeted specifically the vendor's core system which was used for operation. Now, when we are talking about this exact targeting, it directly led to failure of multiple things such as vendor system became inaccessible, airport machinery such as kiosk, boarding system, all of it shut down and definitely led to a basic no functioning zone and stranded passengers that were present across. Now, let us understand briefly that what exactly is ransomware and how it works. So, ransomware is nothing but you can understand it as a virus or a malware that is created with a very simple idea that either it will lock the data or steal the data. तो यहाँ पे जो डेटा है उसको लॉक कर दिया जाएगा या फिर स्टील कर लिया जाएगा, चुरा लिया जाएगा, और जो भी अटैकर होगा जिसने इनक्रिप्टिंग यूज की है वो डिमांड करता है कि आप मुझे कुछ पैसे दीजिए, यू गिव मी सम रैंसम so that this data can be usable again or the theft is not going to take place. This is simple, basically demanding ransom for something very important. This is data here, and the ransom is usually demanded in form of cryptocurrencies. Now, the ransomware attack has also gone into variation where we are seeing three major types. The first type is where there is only encryption, that means locking in of the data and the ransom demand is present, which is the first type, and it is also referred to as the classic model. But in recent times, we have seen multiple other models of ransomware attack where there is double extortion also taking place. In case of double extortion, we are finding that it is not just stealing the data, but there is also a threat to publish, and in this scenario, the data remains at the mercy of the person who is attacking and the leakage of data is very much possible. Furthermore, the third category is the one where there is an added pressure by targeting customers and partners. So in this layer, let's just imagine a scenario. Let us take an example to understand. Let's just say a company has data of 1,000 people who are traveling around. In the classic model, the only thing that would be done, that data would be stolen and a ransom would be demanded to give back that data. In the double extortion, there would be usage of that data. That means they would be leaking that data, publishing that data, or selling that data to somebody else, and also demanding the ransom from the person that data has been stolen. In the third category, the data that they have, they might be targeting those people as well. So in this case, we are seeing that in recent times there have been cases of double extortion, triple extortion that has been taking place. For example, if we talk about the recent trends, we have been finding that the target sectors have been the critical sectors of an economy, be it healthcare. For example, the UK NHS incident that happened in 2017, the oil pipelines, Colonial Pipeline was targeted in US in 2021, and now airports are being targeted in Europe in 2025. Now this clearly gives us an insight. The reason we are going into so much detail here is to understand that what level of exposure that is present, and even the developed economies are not spared when we are talking about such cyber attack, and the preparedness that is required for it is definitely significant at this given point of time from the perspective of national security. Now let us move into understanding that where is India in terms of exposure. As I started this conversation, I said that every year we are at official loss of more than 22,000 crores, which is going in just in cyber fraud. If we talk about the incident volume, we have understood that CERT-In, which is one of the critical agencies to manage cyber fraud or cyber related incidents, it has handled more than 13 lakh incidents only in 2022, and industry has detected 400 million plus malware hits that were reported in 2024, that is last year. 400 million malware hits are present. If you talk about the market response that has been seen, India's cyber security market is booming at this given point of time. It was estimated in 2024 this market would stand somewhere between 7 to 11 billion US dollars, and it is exponentially growing at more than 15 to 18% CAGR. That means there is a demand. Why there is demand? Because security is required. But that also clearly points out that there is a lot of vulnerability. That is why there is demand for cyber security. A market never booms when there is no space. यहाँ पे gaps जो है बहुत सारे exist कर रहे हैं, इसलिए demand है कि इन gaps को cover किया जाए, और cyber security की market का growth जो है ये कंप्लेन्स के नंबर्स को ही रिफ्लेक्ट करता है कि अगर इन कंप्लेन्स को हमें पैच करना चाहिए तो साइबर सिक्योरिटी का फ्रेमवर्क, मार्केट जो है वो बेटर परफॉर्म करना चाहिए, और उससे ही ये सिचुएशन जो है एड्रेस होगी. टू गिव यू मोर इनसाइट इनटू दिस, लेट अस लुक एट अ डिफरेंट नंबर. If you talk about basically the detections that we get to see, you will find that almost 702 detections are seen per minute. And on the same number, you will find that one ransomware incident is reported at every 595 detections. So that means if we take the number of detections, that means almost every minute one ransomware, or almost after 1.2 minutes, we are seeing one ransomware attack. If you look at the geographical hotspots, you will find that these are the places which are the hubs, be it of technology, be it of businesses, be it Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Surat, Bangalore, Jaipur. All of this is giving us insight into the fact that business, critical sectors are at exposure, and it is high time that India looks into this framework and addresses it. Can you tell me in the comment section what are the schemes that have been taken out by the government, or what are the help that has been extended by the government when we are talking about cyber security, especially for common man. Now moving ahead, now let us also take an estimate that what lies at risk if India faces a similar hit. So let's just quickly go through the numbers. If such a similar hit that has happened in Europe happens in India, we are going to see 100 crores of losses if an airport is hit. If we are talking about bank finance, where we are already looking at such a high number, this could actually go ahead and freeze billions and expose billions from our economy. If we are talking about energy and power, then again, it will not just affect the flow of money, it will directly impact GDP, and it can also become a public safety hazard. If we talk about healthcare, we have already seen such a hack when it happened at AIIMS Delhi in 2022. It delayed patient record, it delayed patient service. That means life is also going to be indirectly hit by cyber attack. It's not just about money, life is also at risk. And when we talk about our own data, it is lying at a vulnerable place where there is fear of breach data related to Aadhaar, health, telecom, that can lead to further mass fraud taking place. Now the question that comes in here is, what can be done? What are the things that should be done? So government at this point of time needs to focus on a multidimensional approach so that the issue of cyber security framework can be focused upon, and this framework can also be strengthened. So here the suggestions, I have broken them down into three categories. First, immediate, short term and long term. So when we are talking about immediate, the first thing we need to do is have a clear understanding of exposure. That can be done by auditing especially critical vendors, be it airports, be it banks, utilities, then bringing in mandates of SBOMs and also patch deadlines so that we can actually bring in some compliance when we are talking about SLA. The another focus that needs to bring immediate attention to is that there should be an emergency manual fallback drills, that if this scenario happens, how this can be tackled in the best manner should be practiced, just like a natural disaster. Because this is a virtual disaster, but it can cost us billions, just like a natural or man-made disaster does. If we are talking about medium term, the focus needs to go towards cross-sector tabletop exercises. That means, for example, if we are talking about two sectors, let's just say airport and bank. So in such a scenario, how this situation should be managed? There should be also focus on real-time intel sharing, be it with certain, be it with sector CERTs and private sectors, and there should be proper enforcement of penalties as well when we are talking about incidents if they are going underreported or non-reported. But the long-term picture is the most important, where we need to focus on is the fact that we need to come out of the obsoleteness that we are lying in. We need to invest in redundant backups, change them, air-gapped data centers and zero trust architecture. That is the scenario of present. We need to change and invest in this. We also need to focus especially on cyber workforce. We need to fast track the training and bring in scholarship so that there is a proper existent usable domestic workforce which can facilitate the framework we are talking about. And the most important part, when the insurance is a big question, be it health insurance, life insurance, the promotion and awareness related to cyber insurance, so that there is a clear understanding that their losses can come the virtual way as well. This insurance should be replicated at the government level as well. When we are talking about an emergency fund at the central level which can be utilized for a scenario just like that we saw in Europe. The reason that all of this needs to be focused is very simple, because this is of national as well as global importance. At present time, cyber security is equivalent to national security, and it has a direct role when we are talking about economic output as well. So in this scenario, we have to focus on an infrastructure which will ensure our national security, and what has happened in Europe should be a lesson for India to strengthen its cyber infrastructure in real time, because that could be the next target. Now, what do you all think about this particular situation in India? You can let me know in the comment section. That was all. Thank you so much.